Today, I'm going to talk about visual design principles for e-learning. What I'm talking about today is based on Ruth Clark and Rachel Meyer's book, E-Learning and the Science of Instruction, which the book is about the multimedia learning principles. I choose 6 principles here for specifically visual design. Multimedia principle, contiguity principle, modality principle, redundancy principle, coherence principle, and personalization principle. Let me talk about each principle in details. Multimedia principle. This principle has 3 sub-principles. Principle 1, including both words and graphics. As you can see from these graphics here, I included both words and graphics. Principle 2 is select appropriate graphics to support learning, and Principle 3 is use graphics to promote learning. Both Principle 2 and 3 refers to a very important concept, which is the functions of graphics. There are 5 functions of graphics. The first one is decorative. So it's more aesthetic for aesthetic appeal or humor. And second is representational. That illustrates appearance of an object, for example, photograph. Or this is the second function, representational function of graphic. It illustrates this is toddler, this is toddler, this toddler, and use this graphic to represent a toddler. And the next function is organizational, such as organization chart or concept map. The fourth function of graphics is relational. It describes the quantitative relationship, such as a bar graph or pie chart. And the fifth function of graphics is transformational. It illustrates the changes in time or over space. Alright, so when you use graphics, I want you to think about what's the goal of the graphics and how do you want the graphics to promote learning. And the next principle is contiguity principle. That refers to align words to corresponding graphics. As you can see, this is a brief brain anatomy. When I pointed to the temporal lobe, so the printed words are near corresponding graphics. That's location. And then the second one is synchronize spoken words with corresponding graphics. That's the time. And this video here, Twitter and marketing, is a perfect example of synchronized spoken words with corresponding graphic. And the next principle is modality principles. This refers to present words as audio narration rather than on-screen text. Research shows that when words are being used to accompany a graphic, it is more effective to use audio narration than to use printed text. Presenting both graphics and text can overload a learner's cognitive channels. And using on-screen text support graphics makes learner to process the information and learn visually, and use audio to learn process information phonetically. This is based upon the information processing theory. As you can see, this graphic, it's talking about the visual processing, the information comes from eyes, and phonetic processing information goes to the audio part. And redundancy principle is to explain the visuals with words in audio or text, not both. Okay, and that if you use both, that's a cognitive overload. And learners cannot focus on all 3 medias at the same time: the graphic, the audio, and the text. So you don't want to use all 3 together. And a little more about redundancy principle. The proper use is text with narration or graphics with narration. An outcome for this is for rich presentation and enhanced learning transfer. Well, when you use all text, graphics, and narration, it's redundant and it creates crowded presentation and depressed learning. All right, let's look at the next principle. Coherence principle. Coherence principle refers to avoid extraneous audio, and number 2, avoid extraneous graphics and avoid extraneous words. So this principle stressed avoid adding any material that does not support the instructional goal. In other words, do not add fluff to the lesson to make it pretty. Keep the lesson uncluttered. Avoid adding any material that does not support the instructional goal. Because it will cause the interference effect. It will distract and disrupt learning. And it will seduct learning. They will mislead learner in organizing incoming content. The last principle I'm going to talk about today for the visual design is personalization principle. Some e-learning lessons rely on a formal style of writing to present information. The research base for using conversational style has grown, and new evidence has emerged concerning the role of the speaker's voice. People learn better from human voice than the machine voice. And research also shows that people learn better from human voice with a standard accent rather than a foreign accent. And interestingly, one study even showed learning was better from a female voice. Anyway, so the personalization principle is particularly important for design of pedagogical agents. As you can see here, your first customer on the show floor, and this little lady is called pedagogical agent. And that's personalization. That's the great use of personalization principle. All right, that's so much for today, and thank you for watching it.